So you're running out of closet space. The good news? You don't need to stop shopping. You just need to start selling with The RealReal. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. Whether it's that mini bag that can't even fit your phone, or those boots you never fully broke in, The RealReal handles everything from photography and copywriting to shipping and pricing. So you can just sit back, get paid, and make room for things that actually feel like you. And with 10,000 plus new arrivals every single day from top designers like Prada, Celine, Louis Vuitton, and Loewe, all for up to 90% off retail, you're bound to find something perfectly on brand to fill that extra closet space with. Plus, right now, you can get an extra $100 to shop when you sell for the first time. Make room for what feels like you. Go to therealreal.com to start selling and get your extra $100 to keep shopping at therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com. Terms apply.
Crystal, have you ever done a wine tour?
Why, yes, I have. I've actually done one in Switzerland, too. I've done plenty. I mean, I'm in wine country, Virginia, obviously. But yeah, Switzerland was one of the most fun ones. But I like the wine and food ones, too.
I asked the guy who runs our local wine shop, who does these wonderful wine appreciation classes. They're super. I said, when I was in Italy, the wine tasted so good. And then I bring it back here and it just seems a little thin. It's okay. It's great, but it's not like it was in Italy. And he looks at me, Crystal. He goes, it's because you were in Italy.
Oh, mic drop.
On today's show, we talked to an expert in wine tourism about the good, bad, and ugly. But, you know, let's be serious. It's mostly the good because wine.
Yeah, obviously. I'm in awe just thinking about wine. At the end of this episode and every show, you'll hear our gear of the day pick. So if you're looking for best-in-class gear that's worth the price, head to our Amazon page at stackingadventures.com/gear of the day. We also have a short link. It's stackingadventures.com, which that was the only long part, /GOTD. You'll help the show and you'll help yourself adventure better and for less money. Now let's get the show on the road.
Ready for adventure? From vacation to staycation and from the mountains to the beach. This is the Stacking Adventures podcast.
Welcome to the Stacking Adventures podcast, where we head around the world with our adventure community to stack memories we'll remember forever. She's Crystal Hammond.
And I'm Joe Salsihai. Just kidding. He's Joe Salsihai.
Nice job. Crystal, today we're going wine adventuring. And you know what? This is about time, because you could just pick out a few wineries. And I know you've probably done this in the past, but how often have you gone to a winery and it just sucks?
Oh, well, I think that would make it suck if you're left to yourself. Like, yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Here's the wines. So yeah, it's pretty hard to have one like suck. Shouldn't it?
It is. It's wine. Come on. But there's wineries. Listen, I don't want to make fun of people making wine because they're doing God's work.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some wineries are better than others. And if you have precious time in an area, why not do a wine tour versus just going and picking a few random places? And today we're actually going to interview a woman who does that. Her job, this sounds like such a tough job, is to take people around and show them great wines.
Oh, I want that job.
You want to meet her right now?
Yes. Oh, you have her in your pocket?
I do not. She is joining us live all the way from Santiago. Kylie Sherriff is here. How are you?
Hello. Nice to be here. I'm great. It's a sunny day in Santiago. A great day to be out in the wineries, but here I am in my office. That's okay.
I think you say that every day, though, don't you, Kylie? It's a great day to get out to the winery. Like, I would say that every day.
Absolutely. I mean, all year round, it's great to be out in the wineries. Of course, it's spring right now. We've got the little baby grapes on the vine. It's the promise of next year's wine. But every time of year is a great time to be out in the wineries.
I agree.
It's funny. So we got to get this out of the way right away. You sound like you're native Chilean.
Sipo. No, I'm an Australian living in Chile. I've been here nearly 12 years, and I came out here specifically to do something different and to live in another culture and use another language. And yeah, I decided that it was going to be wine and food tourism. And here I am 12 years later, and I don't see the end in sight yet. So we'll see.
That's so exciting. We're going to tell your story in the second half because I was so excited about it. By the way, the reason that, Crystal, that I know Kylie is she took us on a wonderful wine tour south of Santiago, and we went to 3 great wineries. It was super fun. And so I said at the end, and we had friends with us, we're like, you got to come on our podcast. So here she is. You were nice enough to do it.
Thank you for soliciting.
I think that just ticks the box and makes it a work trip for Joe, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
That airfare ain't cheap, Crystal. It's not cheap. Kylie was in finance. She knows how the tax game works. No, but let's start here, Kylie. So you design wine tours. If we're our average adventurer and we're thinking about going on it, what makes a great tour?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably take this back a little bit to say what makes a great bottle of wine, and it's the bottle of wine that's open in front of you and you're enjoying with friends. And
in Italy. Or in Chile.
Or in Chile. Or anywhere in the world. But I think in a way what makes a great wine tour is the one that you're on and you're having a great time and you're enjoying some great wine and you're sharing the wine and having some great conversation. I think for us personally, like the more that somebody tells us about what they want in a wine tour, the better we can deliver, because one of the things about Chile is we have so much variety and so much diversity, and just out of Santiago on our doorstep we have different wine regions within an hour and a half of the city. So yeah, the more people tell us, the better we can make their experience. Of course, there are some people who really, they just want to get out of the city and see the countryside and drink some wine, and they're not necessarily wine experts, but we have something for everyone. Someone who's a little bit more discerning, they know exactly what grape they want to experience or what they want to see, we can do that too. So
I guess that you're answering part of my question, which is it sounds like what makes a good wine tour is, will the person running the tour, do they cater it to your taste? Like they start off by asking you questions, it sounds like.
Yeah, for me, or for us personally, it's more about where we would take you based on your taste. So when you get to the winery, they're going to do their thing. They're going to show you the wine they do, the special thing about that winery. But if we know that you want to drink a certain type of wine, we're not going to take you to a winery that's doing something completely different. When we put wineries together too, we really think about what the experience is like in each one of them, so that you're just not seeing the same thing in every spot. We don't want you to be like, oh, not another tank, not another barrel. Where's the wine? You know, we want you to see something very unique in each place.
It was funny on our tour. You took us to, I don't remember how we answered whatever questions you asked us, but you took us to 3 wineries. You took us to a really, really small winery, then a very, very large winery, and then kind of a middle of the road winery. I got to imagine you pick those 3 different sizes so we get a little bit of variety.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the Maipo Andes region, so we had, someone says we really want to be close to the mountains and have these beautiful views. That's a great spot to be. And we went with, probably one of the youngest and smallest wineries in the area, one of the biggest and oldest wineries in the area, and then one that kind of fits nicely in the middle, like a mid-sized winery with beautiful architecture that's also not as old but not as young as the other one. So we saw very different things at each spot with different levels of experience. At the very small one, you can get a very personal experience, and at a very big one, you're probably going to share your tour with somebody else and meet other wine lovers along the way.
The small winery, Crystal, it was called Lof, L-O-F. And by the way, Kylie, for Thanksgiving, this is coming out after Thanksgiving when it airs, but I asked my sister-in-law, who's in the Washington, D.C. region, to get me, we're getting a case sent to Detroit where we're all going to meet up for Thanksgiving. But Crystal, you got to try this wine. It's at a great store in D.C. is one of the few places you can find it in the United States.
Oh, I'm just going to go to your sister-in-law's house.
I know. Just come on. Yeah, absolutely. We, but to your point about the small winery, we met the cat. There was a cat, Crystal, at the winery. There was also a the matriarch was there too. She made the cheeses herself
What?
and brought them up and said hello to us. Like the woman who's I think she's the mother of the people that own the winery, Kylie.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of the owners. Like, it's a family-owned and run winery. It's very hands-on. It's very human scale. She's the mother-in-law of the winemaker, and his wife also has a ceramics studio in the winery. So she makes all of the little plates, even the spittoon, which is sometimes a necessary part of winemaking. The brother, or her brother, or the winemaker's brother-in-law is the general manager of the winery. The other sisters do the labels, they're graphic designers. So really everybody in some way has something to do with that winery, even if they just drink the wine.
They actually trusted us, Crystal, to put the wax that's on the top of the bottle.
Oh.
They trusted us to put some wax on. And I will say we were not that good at it.
Wax on, wax off.
Exactly. That one was probably a wax off as well, and back into the pot to melt down to make a really nice top later.
Well, a lot of these wineries, Kylie, will do, they'll do tours for free or for a small fee. I know that going on the tour with you was not inexpensive. Why would somebody do a wine tour versus just set up 3 or 4 wineries and just hit the road?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons. And the main one is that nothing is free anymore. Like, there's not a single winery in Chile where you can rock up and taste for free. I don't really know if anywhere in the world that exists anymore. Maybe in some really small wine region, maybe in Italy, I don't know. But really, all of the tours, all of the wineries that we hit during the day, we're paying them a fee to be there. And that fee can range from, a classic tour with a basic level or an entry level of wines up to, a very expensive premium wine experience. So again, there's something for everybody. If you have somebody who really wants to try a 100-point wine, then, obviously you're going to pay extra for that. Another very good reason not to jump on the road and do it yourself is, in Chile at least, you have pretty strict appointment times, and you really have to know the flow of things, how far you need to allow between the wineries, how to hit there on time to make your appointment, how long that appointment is going to last. Again, like what time you need to be leaving there to get to the next place. And of course, there's drink driving. We definitely don't encourage drink driving. And Chile has zero tolerance on drink driving. And although they might not test you too often, you don't want to, have a little bingle and be tested with alcohol in your system, because that's it. Like, no insurance would cover you. You just don't want to be in that situation, particularly in another country and potentially a country where you don't speak the language.
Well, you make a good point, because I know I tried to do one myself. I had some free time in Napa, and a lot of the places I was like, oh, they're not open on Mondays, or, oh, they close between this time and this time on Tuesday. So I only ended up going to one place. But, had I known all that other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we run into that too sometimes. We have to know, okay, we can't do this particular winery on a Sunday, but we can do this area. We can usually pull something together any given day of the week, but we have to be aware of all of the opening times, all of the tour times.
You had to do that with us, Kylie. You had to do that with us because we were there on Independence Day.
Oh.
Yes, but it was that's right. It was the 19th of September, wasn't it? So that's one of Chile's. It was actually pretty hard to find some wineries that were open because that is a public holiday. There are some exceptions there, so they, tourism and hotels can accept people. But yeah, we managed to pull it together, which was great.
Oh, it was super. The thing that I thought too, along with what you said about knowing about the hours and the tastings and I don't know if this was the case. It felt like the case. I kind of felt like we got preferential treatment because the people knew you. I really felt like we got this, Crystal, we got this very personable tour. We were at the big winery. We had a wonderful guide. He was a great guide. We were paired with other people, like Kylie said, but there and in the restaurant, I felt like in every place we went, we got this great treatment because Kylie had already made these relationships that had I gone by myself, I wouldn't have had. So to some degree, Kylie, I feel like if you find a good guide, it's almost like an insurance policy. I'm going to go back to my financial planner days that I don't know that it's going to be great, but I do know that if I hire you, it's not going to suck.
I'm glad to hear that. And I would agree. I mean, I think in this business, relationship is everything. I mean, the wine's a very, very important part of it, obviously, and your relationship with wine. But the relationship is everything. It's so much a people business, like certainly with the people that we receive, but also in the wineries. And if I'm in a small winery, then maybe the relationship there is with the owner and the winemaker and the family. But when I'm in a big winery, the relationship there are with the regular people who have been employed there maybe for a long time or maybe for a short time. So it's kind of part of my job to have a relationship with those people that are on the front line there too. And that just ensures that everybody has a better experience. They as a guide have a better experience, that I remember them and am friendly to them and try to remember their name and introduce them to my guests. And it's certainly a better experience for the guests. So it's a worthwhile investment to have those relationships, and it's rewarding in every way.
It didn't surprise me that we just had such a great time. And, at the first place, I thought, wow, Kylie's friends with these people. But then we went to the second place, Crystal, and I felt the same again. Kylie's friends with these people. And then at the third place, she's friends with these people. And then we get this awesome tour because of it. So I like all that.
That is great.
The next day, Kylie, after we left you, we took this bus trip out to Valparaiso, which was not nearly as good as our time with you. It was a fine tour, but it was definitely, there were a lot of people on this little bus that we were in. They packed us all in, and it was okay. But on the way back, we went to a winery, and I really, really got the feeling that while the winery was fine and the wine tour was fine, I got the feeling we were there because our guide was getting a kickback from the winery. Does that happen? Is my gut feeling about that trip true? Is there a relationship financially between you and the winery where you're going to want to take us to X winery because you're getting paid by them?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why you might think that. And I don't know with that particular provider or which winery that was, whether they might have a special deal, but it isn't generally how things will happen. What will usually happen with the tour operator is we might get a preferential price, or we generally would get a preferential price than what you would pay retail. So it's really like getting a wholesale price because we take a lot of people there, rather than you paying a retail price because you're there once.
You make money off the fact then that you're not paying the fee that I would pay if I went on my own.
Yeah, and some people maybe do it that way where they're saying to the client, when you get to the winery, you're going to pay $40,000 and some of that is mine. Or others might say, we do it as we price it up with the cost of our business, of putting the transport, of having the guide, and then we price in the cost that we pay. So we're able to, in a sense, pass that cost through to you. And obviously we're still making money off doing the tour because it's a business.
Sure.
So you do kind of get the benefit of us getting that better price, but it is all packaged in. Our tours are all inclusive. So you don't have to pay anything else during the day unless you buy that special bottle of wine that you want to take home and make sure it tastes as good as it tasted when you had it in Chile. So,
or six,
or whatever your suitcase will handle. We have some pretty record stories there.
Yeah, because you know how much we can take back. Because I know certain countries, there's always that question of, I bought too much and now I can't take it. I have to lose it at the airport.
Yeah, and generally at a federal level entering the US, it's 2.25 litres. When clients are here on the ground, I can give them some little tips and things, but I wouldn't want to go live with that kind of information.
That's proprietary information.
I don't want my US ESTA visa revoked or anything.
Let's put it this way, Crystal. Kylie showed us how to legally bring in more wine than we thought that we were going to. At the beginning, I said, I'm not going to buy more. And next thing you know, I'm going home with a suitcase full of wine. And now I'm buying a case of wine to take to Thanksgiving. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah. And also a lot of people don't realize Chile makes a lot of wine and we export most of it. The market is outside Chile. So most of these wineries will have some form of distribution in the US.
All right, so Joe, we're halfway through today's show, so I think it's time for our road trip pit stop. On the pit stop, you're always dreaming about what's at the end of the adventure. How cool will it be to get there? Are we there yet? That's my favorite question. Are we there yet? So then I go back to sleep, wake up again. Are we there yet? Go back to sleep and repeat. But our pit stop is always a hint at our gear of the day, and you can see past gear of the day at stackingadventures.com/gear of the day or GOTD. So Joe, what is our hint?
Usually, ladies, our gear has been stuff that you take with you to make the trip easier. This is actually gear that I found while touring that has to do with wine. It has to do with wine. It actually makes it, this gear actually makes it so that, how do I give you a clue without giving this away? That makes it so that your experience with wine or different beverage is cleaner. How about that? Is cleaner. Any guess, Crystal?
It's cleaner. A straw, so you can drink it faster. I don't know.
I maybe found a straw, like a clever straw.
Collapsible.
Yes, Kylie. How about you? Any idea?
Oh, I think I'm onto it because I may have had to use this a few times before. But would it be like a wine stain removal spray? Maybe.
Ooh.
It could be. It might be. You know what? I'll let you guys ponder for a second what you think of those, and we'll see about locking in your guesses right after a message from our sponsor. All right, ladies, I said that this would make it cleaner. Kylie, you were talking maybe it's a wine stain remover. I've used those from time to time.
Friends buy me those. It's a common gift for me.
Yes. You comfortable with that as you're going to lock that in, Kylie?
Yeah, it's either that or a bib, but I think it's the wine stain remover.
Whole body bib. I like that.
I should have had a bib when I was on that wine tour. And Crystal, you like the straw?
I like the straw because I mean, I can see after a few bottles, you're tipping back as you're sipping the straw because you totally forget.
Yes. Well, we will see what it is at the end of the show. But for now, let's dive back in, Kylie. So as somebody that provides wine tours, I would think that you've been on some wine tours. What are your favorite regions and places where you've gone on wine tours that maybe our adventurers might want to go to outside of your wonderful tours in Chile?
Yeah, it is something that when I travel, even before I went into this business, it's something I've always tried to work into a trip. And really, I don't know, I mean, I have so many great memories of wine tours. Everything from, as you mentioned before, like maybe jumping in a car and doing it yourself and driving down some winding road in Tuscany to like sit in a, big old stone building on the top of a hill and
that sounds
have a
horrible.
nice lunch and drink some wine. And back in the day before we had, Google Maps or anything, and having to actually stop and ask men in Lycra on bicycles if we were going the right way. So, which also wasn't a bad experience, I have to say.
I like it.
Oh, you had to ask an Italian man for directions. That's horrible.
Imagine.
Oh.
On a bike.
Yeah. So, but really everything, as I've gotten more and more into wine and I've studied more about wine, and then, I take maybe a little bit of a different approach too. And, France obviously becomes a little bit of a mecca for getting out to the regions and getting to Burgundy and the amazing towns of Champagne and the caves under the city streets and things, just incredible. I just think there's always something great to see. I don't know if it was the last time. I did a lot of Croatia and actually flew into Hungary, and I got into Hungary, into Budapest at like 7 p.m. and at 8 a.m. the next morning I was getting picked up for a wine tour. And so it's something I always like to incorporate, and I think you'll always get a different experience.
I was reading recently about wine tours in, I think it was Slovenia, and about how surprisingly good the wine in Slovenia was.
Absolutely. I didn't actually get to do a tour in Slovenia, but I did sit along the river there and try some local wines. And, Europe's just so old compared to our New World countries. So that's just fascinating in itself.
You can tell, Crystal, that Kylie likes her job because I asked her, where's her favorite wine tours? And I think she said everywhere. Did she just say everywhere?
Pretty much everywhere, yeah. Because in Australia, we have a big culture of getting out to the wineries when we're really quite young. So, it's something that you would do with friends, or, you go on a weekend and drive out to wine country and have lunch. And it's one of those things that every time I did it, I would say, this is so good and so accessible, I'm going to do this more often. And then you find that you don't do it again for a very long time. But it's always a great experience.
Which is sad. By the way, in Australia, the wineries are in the western part of the country?
Well, we have some wineries in the western part of the country, and that's very isolated. It's, very far from even where I grew up in Victoria, in Melbourne. But we have a lot of wineries in the southeast part of the country too. So Barossa Valley is probably the most well-known, which is just outside of Adelaide in South Australia. And, there's a really rich variety of wine regions in the southeast pocket of Australia.
That's fabulous. I want to pivot here for a moment because I was also fascinated from my Stacking Benjamins days about you doing this in the first place. Because what I love, Kylie, about your story is that you didn't start off in the wine business. You had to pivot to wine business. And I know there's a lot of people listening to this that might be in a job that they don't like. You were in a job that you don't like. Can you tell us your story?
Yeah, I was 21 years in banking and finance in Australia, or lending. And it's not, I wouldn't necessarily say I didn't like the job. In fact, the things about the job that I did like are the things that actually transitioned to wine tours as well. So the people contact and meeting people's needs, fantastic, just those relationships. But of course, there's the bureaucracy of being in a big bank and the politics and things like that. So yeah, I really got to a point after traveling a lot between jobs, or making sure I traveled once a year, I got to the point where I was like, there's more to life than this. Like, stop the bus. I want to get off. So
do you mind telling us how old you were when you had this stop the bus moment?
I mean, you could probably say it was a genuine midlife crisis, right? It was like right around my early 40s. And I just thought, it's time to do something new. When I had traveled, I had met a lot of people who just had geared their lives differently, so that they were traveling 6 months of the year and working 6 months of the year. In one way or the other, they had done things a little bit differently. And that was kind of the age where I got that it was time for a new adventure. Did
you take 6 months to make the move? I mean, how much research did you do before you went, I'm doing this? Yeah,
it's something that kind of was brooding slowly. I was, it was probably over the course of 3 years. Like, I had traveled in South America between jobs for like nearly 6 months, went back to Australia and went back into a banking job. But it was always in the back of my mind that I'd like to do something different. And I started to think about what that looked like. And I was like, if I work in something that I'm really interested in rather than something I just can do, what does it look like? And I love food, I love wine, I love travel. So I'm like, something to do with food and wine tourism. And at times I would kind of brainstorm this and think, how can I start this project while I'm still employed in a full-time job? But then it just got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I quit my job, came out to South America. I didn't immediately come to Santiago. I started in Buenos Aires. I had a plan to spend some time in Argentina, spend some time in Chile, maybe then go on and spend some time somewhere else, until I would really kind of put some shape around it. Probably with a view of going back to Australia and selling something that I then came out to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year, whatever it was going to be. But I really enjoyed living in Santiago and the diversity that we have here of wine regions. And I just stayed, and I started the day tours that I'm doing now. And it's been the Rolling Stone, and it's just grown and grown.
I got to imagine, though, that first flight out there when you're going with no return ticket, you must have been thinking, am I crazy? Is this?
I never really saw it as it. I knew that it didn't have to be a point of no return. You know, there was always a fallback position. My return ticket, ironically, was a return ticket to London, because before I decided to come out here, I'd already planned a trip to France and England with a friend of mine. And it was really when I was making the decision to leave the bank that I clicked on one-way ticket to London. And so went off on my vacation with her, and then from there gradually made my way down to South America. And yeah, I mean, I got to South America and I got to Argentina. I booked into my apartment. I had a nice little 2-bedroom apartment. I was renting. I get there. I'm like, yes, I live in South America. And then I'm like, wow, how am I going to meet people? You know, I'm not working. I'm not touring, so I'm not really meeting people on tours. But, you know, it doesn't take long. There's always a way. I looked for, okay, what kind of events are running where one person can show up on their own. And it didn't take long to meet some people and have a nice circle of friends.
That's so great, because, you know, Crystal, there's people listening to this that want to make a move, and for Kylie to go halfway around the world to make that move, that's a pretty powerful statement.
Well, yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, it's great. You know, I've before, when I traveled South America between jobs, a lot of people would say to me, "Are you really going to South America on your own?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, but aren't you going to feel lonely? And I never thought of it. I just never thought about the fact that I might feel lonely. And the one time when it did enter my mind was landing on the tarmac in Buenos Aires and suddenly going, like, really, what if I don't meet anybody? And sure enough, I go through the airport and I get on the bus to transfer into the city. And when I sit down in the seat on the bus, I start talking to the couple in front of me and I start talking to the girl next to me. And before we've even gotten to town, we've got plans to meet up for dinner the next night. So,
wow,
you know, you're never going to be on your own. And my fallback position was, you know what, if I really feel lonely, I'm just going to book myself into a language course for a couple of weeks and meet like-minded people who are practicing their Spanish, and I'm just going to have a good time with it. So,
how much Spanish did you know going out there?
Thankfully, I had learnt Spanish before. Part of my finance world, I was in Mexico for 18 months with work, and that allowed me to speak Spanish. Of course, I'd had a lot of time back in Australia in between where I didn't have a lot of time to practice it. And then, of course, I live in Chile where, you know, they have a reputation for being the Irish of the Spanish language, so it can be pretty hard to understand. But, yeah, I've been able to build on it from there.
Nice.
I want to end our time together by talking about some of the wine experiences that you really like. So somebody goes to Chile, you've seen a ton of wineries. What are some of the areas that people should focus on hitting? What are maybe some of the areas they shouldn't think about so much?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's something for everyone, and I love the area. I love the area that we went into with you, Joe. We were right up against the mountains. The Andes are just so amazing. Wow. I never get sick of seeing them.
Crystal, it sucks so bad. We're sitting there with a glass of wine in our hand, and I look to my left, and here's these gorgeous snow-capped mountains. Like, it was horrible.
I've only seen them at Olive Garden on the mint that they give you. That's the only time I've seen the Andes.
Yeah, and then, you know, we go to Casablanca, and Casablanca is more of a cool climate, but they also will present you wines from other parts of Chile. Casablanca is super accessible. We go up to Aconcagua in a day trip too, which is a lesser-known valley, and some big red wines up there and some small wineries up there too, but also a big one that's a big historical winery. Is that fun for you, Kylie, to go to some of these more hidden places that without you, people wouldn't even know they were there? Yeah, that's loads of fun. Like, I think the first winery that we headed to when we went to Loff, and, you know, you drive down this road and there's this unmarked dirt road that leads off the road, and I'm sure people are like, where are we? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. So speaking of, you know, you're getting in a van with somebody you just met that day, and they drive me to this
unmarked dirt road. We're heading toward the mountain down this lane. I have no idea where the hell. There's no way this is a winery at the end of this road. I'm like, we're going to die. Kylie's taking us out to kill us. But but it didn't happen.
Harvest your organs. Yeah.
At one point, right?
Yeah, and of course the Colchagua Valley is a little bit further south from Santiago, and we go there with a minimum of 2 days because it's a 2.5-hour drive just to get to the valley. But it's really beautiful down there too. And more over time, we're getting people who are prepared to stay outside Santiago in order to explore the wine. And I've actually just come off the back of 2 3-day tours down there and a 2-day tour down there, all kind of separate and all in a row. And that's fantastic because it allows us to get a little deeper. And again, we can showcase a wide variety of wineries from one of those wineries has been named number 2 in the world just recently in the best wineries to visit in the world. So you get some really prestigious properties, beautiful architecture, great wines, and you get some really small projects as well that are great to sit there with the winemaker and the winemaker's wife with a great cheese board and hear about how they also took the jump from being a gainfully employed winemaker in a big organization to stepping out and starting their own family project and hear about their passion for their wines. So it's all
gives
good.
Me chills. You did mention before, like right now you're looking at the baby grapes. What are great times of year to be there, or like based on what you want to see?
Yeah, the harvest is always fun, and a lot of people, particularly when they come from the Northern Hemisphere, it's an obvious thing, but not something that people necessarily consciously think about, is that our harvest is at the opposite time of the year. So our harvest is, March and April, and the weather here is still beautiful. It's not stinking hot. It's, beautiful fall weather. You can see some harvest action. You can eat the grapes off the vines and see a lot going on. That's a really nice time of year to get down here. But also right now it's great. It's spring. We've had bud break. We've got these tiny little baby grapes that are just, the promise of next year's wine to come. So, and even in winter, it can be, the vines are dormant. It can be kind of, the winery is stark. There's no leaves on the vines, but you've got the Andes there. They're covered in snow in the winter. We get sun most days of the year in Chile. We only probably have a handful of days where we won't see the sun. So you can still be on a winter's day, rugged up nice and warm, but have the sun on you and sit there with a glass of wine and just enjoy the countryside.
I don't know how you endure that. That's horrible.
I'm there right now.
Krista, we need to get down here.
Yes. Oh, yes. Most definitely. I can't wait.
Kylie, if people are in Santiago or they're in Chile and they want to book your tour, how do they do that?
Yeah, so my business is Chile Wine Trails, and we're on the internet, and you can contact us by email or by WhatsApp, whichever is easiest. We do, particularly at this time of year, need a little bit of notice because it's coming up to a really busy summer season. And as we said, in Chile, you really need to have appointments in place. It's not like we just go, jump in the van. We don't do that kind of thing where it's like, just jump in the van and we're going to just stop at a winery.
Hit the road.
The majority of our tours are private and small groups can be anything from 2 people traveling together, or like you said, Joe, like you and another couple, so 4 people. But anything from 2 people up to a group of friends that are traveling together, we can cater for. But yeah, we need a little bit of time, one, to work out exactly what it is that you want, and then also to make the arrangements in the wineries and have the right transport for you and just make sure your day goes really smoothly.
It was so wild, Crystal, taking the tour, just the 4 of us, of 2 of the 3 wineries. And the 3rd winery, we got paired with some nice young people from Brazil that we ended up getting their Facebook information, Instagram information. Now we're internet friends with these people that we're getting married. I don't know if you even knew that, Kylie, because Victor, the guy that was taking us around, we spent a lot of time with him. So it was fantastic. So the people we end up meeting people on this tour, Crystal. So, all right. We will link to, Kylie and everything she does on our show notes at stackingadventures.com in our show notes. It's time for the gear of the day. We're going to tell you exactly what we have. Different than gear that makes your life on the road easier, because we've done the suitcase thing. We've done a lot of the travel stuff, socks.
Right.
This is something that I actually found on one of my tours, and this makes it cleaner. And Kylie, you said it was cleaning solution. And by the way, I've had to use that before, sadly, where I sit my glass down next to me and kick it all over the place. And with red wine, that's not fun. Yeah. And then Crystal, you said a straw, which was also a great guess. I've seen some crazy straws, which are fantastic. Neither of those are right, but those are great. Here is what it was. We were in this wonderful town. If you ever go to Northwest Arkansas, and people are like, why would I go there? It is beautiful.
Probably not.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Take your word for it.
There's a town called Eureka Springs, which is built right into the mountains. It is this wonderful, beautiful little town. And I found this great store. It was a wine shop. And
spit it out.
And it is coasters.
Coasters.
But these coasters are so fun because this is coming out in early December, and these are holiday coasters. So I love these. These are great. Another glass of wine, and we'll be singing Bingle Gels. That one says.
I mean, everybody's got to have some coasters, right?
Oh, yours are beautiful, Kylie. What are the grapes?
They're grapes.
Those are grapes. Those are fantastic.
I like Bingle Gels.
There's just wait for it. I've got 5. So let me show you these. And by the way, people want to get these, Crystal, they can go to stackingadventures.com/GOTD. Just so we're clear, the Grinch never hated Christmas. He hated people, which is fair.
Oh, I love it.
Which is fair.
Surprisingly enough, wine can help you with that.
It totally can.
Suddenly you love everybody.
and after a couple of glasses of wine, I like this one. Gonna go lay under the tree and remind my family that I'm a gift. This one,
getting up.
This is for people that celebrate Christmas. Mary, exhausted, having just gotten Jesus to sleep, is approached by a young man who thinks to himself, what this girl needs is a drum solo. And if anybody out there's a mom, they know what that one is. And then the last one is, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, but if the white runs out, I'll do the red.
And that's a perfect one for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere that have Christmas in the summer.
Oh, that's got to be so weird.
Man.
That's our kind of white Christmas.
Well, that was even you growing up, Kylie. That was even you growing up. You're like,
absolutely. Funny. Many of the Americans who live down here, they're like, this doesn't feel like Christmas. I'm like, it feels exactly like Christmas. 40 degrees Celsius, don't worry.
All right, so here's the question, adventurers. Have you been on a wine tour? Where are your favorite places to go experience wine? We're going to have in a few weeks an episode where we hear all of your wine adventures. What are wineries you like? What are areas of the world where you've experienced great times with wine? Leave your story at stackingadventures.com/mystory or stackingadventures.com/voicemail.
Another thing that I liked about that one of the wineries too was the gift shop, because I'm a souvenir person. Like, I go overboard on the souvenirs, so that's even another reason to do these. Is like the souvenir part.
Oh, Kylie, at the huge winery we were at I think it was the Casanova region that we went to the following day that we were with you. There was this really cool, I think it was an aerator that it was made out of glass. It looked like this beautiful glass aerator. You're nodding your head. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's actually an Italian product, and it's Centalino or Centalino to be Italian.
Nice.
And I'm sure that you can probably link to that on your Amazon page too, Joe. I can send you the link for that.
Right. How do you spell that again?
It's Centalino, like Centi. I think it's LLINO, Centalino. They also have a smaller one, which is for olive oil, called Centolio. So they're great. They're little hand blowing, like a little teardrop shape on one end, and it basically helps you double aerate the wine as you pour it. So you're pouring it back in, and then pouring it into the glass. And it also helps you to measure the wine if you really want to be fair with your friends.
Nope. They will be judged. They'll know. They want to be my favorite. They'll get more next time. Like, work harder to become my favorite.
Absolutely. And it's a beautiful product, and it just makes your wine drinking experience look very, very elegant.
It does. And in fact, it's funny. I remember being able to buy it at the gift shop at the winery, Crystal, to your point. But Kylie, it was at the winery we went to with you. We had this wonderful dinner, and the people at the next table, that's where I saw it. They were, they had it. It was
nice.
I'd never seen it before, but yeah, it's beautiful. We should link to that as well. Although the coasters, I mean, come on. Yeah. All right. Our biggest takeaway, Kylie, if we're going on a wine tour, one big takeaway everybody needs to make sure they book the right tour.
Contact us. Tell us what you want. Yeah. I mean, I would say tell people what you want. Sure, like let yourself be surprised a little bit too, and learn something about the region that you're going to. But if there's something specific that you want, make sure you tell people that, because then they can better design the tour for you.
I love it, because I wouldn't think that I would have a say. I'd just be at the mercy of their whim. So I like that. So I want to eat. I want to shop.
Absolutely.
While having all the wine.
Tell them what you like. All right.
I like it.
Big thanks to Kylie for joining us again. We'll have links to her tours on our show notes page at stackingadventures.com. She's Crystal.
And he's Joe.
Wow, you got it right.
I usually say I'm Joe, just for laughs.
We'll see you next time at Stacking Adventures.
Great to be here. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kylie.